Do you? Oh. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the City Council briefing session for February 1st. Madam Clerk, would you take the roll?
Council President Beggs.
Present.
Councilmember Burke.
Here.
Councilmember Cathcart.
Present.
Councilmember Mumm.
Here.
Councilmember Stratton.
Here.
Let the record reflect that Councilmembers Kinnear and Wilkerson are absent.
All right, and we might be joined by Councilmember Wilkerson later, but I'll turn it over to Mr. Ormsby for briefing for next week's meeting.
Thank you, Council President. On the consent agenda, for reports, contracts, and claims, first is a value blanket recommendation for traffic signal and luminaire standards, and Clint Harris from Streets is here to brief this item.
Good afternoon, Council President and Council. The Street Department is seeking approval for a value blanket contract to be used for ordering of traffic signal and luminaire standards. The contract value is not to exceed $140,180. Thank you.
Next, we have Jennifer Hammond from the Police Department, who is going to brief the subcontract to the county on Vern J. grant emergency funding related to COVID. Jennifer.
Good afternoon. This is a subcontract to the Spokane County Jail in the amount of $83,000. It was part of our COVID relief funds from the Edward Burns JAG Fund.
Any questions for Jennifer? Okay, the next item is a contract renewal, the third of three, and Jake Hensley, our treasurer, is here to brief that.
Yes, good afternoon. This contract amendment is for Loomis. It's the third of three for armored transport from cashiering locations at City Hall and outlying areas safely to the bank.
Okay. Next, we have a proposed contract for water pumps servicing the waste energy facility, and Chris Avert is here to brief this item.
Good afternoon. Today I'm seeking approval for a contract with Soldier Pump Services for as-needed repairs for the boiler feed water pumps at the waste energy facility. This was competitively bid with Soldier being the only respondent. This is a one-year contract with a value not to exceed $100,000. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. The next two items on the agenda, Kyle Tuig from engineering is briefing. One is a recreational trail easement with the Spokane Club, and the second is the guaranteed maximum price for construction and related activities for relocation of engineering construction management office. So Kyle, it's yours.
Thank you, Mike, and good afternoon, council members. Item number 5 is the proposed trail easement across the Spokane Club property for the of the South Gorge Trail crossing of the Monroe Street Bridge as it would extend under the CSO 26 site as briefed in PIES on Monday. Are there any questions related to the easement? Thank you very much. Item 6 is accepting the guaranteed maximum price component of the contract. This is where Spokane Public Schools is extending their JCCM contract for our benefit for the relocation of the construction management office. We are hammering down the last couple of digits in that. It's going to be right under $2 million, right about 1.93, I believe. I'll have the final number on Monday or on Thursday to update before vote on next Monday. But it's right in line with where we were hoping to come in at, and looking forward to moving on this as quickly as possible.
Any questions for Kyle? Next, we have a proposed contract for the East Central Community Organization for the Rose Apartments Recommission Project, and Rebecca Tuno is here to present this item.
Hello, good afternoon. So I'm requesting to enter into contract for it's a total of $133,642 in total in home program funds. It will be a loan that will be repaid over 30 years. It is specific to the Rose Apartments building. Last year, the building moved to its current location, and this loan will be to finish up the repairs for the interior portion of the building, and will ultimately folks will be able to move in once this portion is complete.
Any questions for Rebecca? Next, we have a proposed contract with the Department of Treasury for rental and utility assistance, and Sally Stouffer from our Grants and Contracts Office is here to brief this item.
Good afternoon, Council. This item is a contract with the U.S. Department of Treasury in the amount of $6,695,536.90. It is to support emergency rental assistance in our community. Any questions?
I have a question for you, Sally. So this is just accepting the money. In terms of distributing the money, are we going to use the same process we did for the CARES money of the mayor and Tanya and the 3 council members working on who we want to use and what kind of tailoring we want to do to get the greatest leverage, or is that figured out yet?
Yeah, for this funding, NHHS Director Cupid Alexander is going to take the lead on organizing the programming of this, but he will, I spoke to him last week, will be reaching out to council and has intent to use a similar process that we used previously to make sure that there's awareness, input, and programmatic and selection of partner, just like we did the last time.
Great, thanks.
Thank you, Sally. The next 2 items on next week's agenda are the placeholders, one for the pending claims and payments with and without parks and library, and then the placeholder for approval of city council meeting minutes, and all those blanks will be completed prior to the finalization of next week's agenda. We then move under boards and commissions appointments. There is a proposed reappointment of a plan commission member. And then under the legislative agenda, under special budget ordinances, Paul and Josie from the budget office is here to present the, reconciliation ordinance for the year. Paul?
Thanks, Mike, and good afternoon, Council President, Council members. So the annual SBO encumbrance carry forward will be in front of you next Monday evening. This rolls the budget authority from 2020 to 2021 for capital projects not yet completed, ongoing grants, and properly encumbered goods not yet received. We don't have final numbers yet. We're working through that. We have about 94 funds that we have to go through as part of this process. Just to give you a sense of the scale, though, of the SBO, the 2020 carryover amount was about $112 million. Of that, $74 million was capital, $23 million were grant-related, and then the remaining approximately $15 million were for those goods and services not yet received. All told, only about $3 million of that total was actually general fund related as well. So we're working through that. We're about a third of the way through, and we will transmit the numbers as soon as we can.
Thanks, Paul. Next, we move to resolutions and final reading ordinances. The first resolution relates to the City Council's rules of procedure, and Council President Beggs is shepherding that process. And so I don't know if you have an update from your earlier presentation or not, Council President.
Oh, I just note that we're going to talk about that at our council retreat tomorrow. Mr. McClatchy has outlined kind of the key provisions, and we'll continue that discussion we had a couple of weeks ago.
Okay, great, thank you. Then we have next a proposed resolution which will adopt the allocations and project prioritizations for the 2-year residential street maintenance program. and Shauna Harshman is with us this afternoon to brief that.
Perfect. Thank you, council members. For our viewing audience, my name is Shauna Harshman. I'm the manager of neighborhood connectivity, but I'm here with you today as my hat for the Transportation Benefit District Administrator. High level, just to go over with you the projects by district for Council District 1, 2, and 3 briefly. These were briefed at Urban Experience on the 11th, and then the Citizens Transportation Advisory Board will be bringing forward a recommendation next week for your adoption. I'm going to share my screen really quickly because I have developed 3 new maps for you to take a look at where you can see each of the projects broken up by district, and that'll be the bulk of what I share with you. All right. Perfect. So in District 1, you can see we have a couple of CHIP projects and the rest are grind projects. I just want to note high level that care was really taken by both the street department and the Citizens Transportation Advisory Board to balance out the spending per district over the 2-year period. So here you can see some of those projects that are listed, and then the map that accompanies that is here. And you can see that Chris Cafaro has broken down those projects into 3 types: grind and overlay, chip seal, and crack seal. And so you will be able to see those, and these maps will be made available on the project website as well. So you can see that there are a number of projects throughout the district. All right, in District 2, up on the South Hill, we've got a couple of CHIP projects, Woodland from F to Rosenbaum, and then 42nd et al. That's kind of a grouping that you'll see on the next image, which is the map, and then several other grind projects happening. You'll notice that a lot of the grind projects in District 2 are proposed in 2021. And then here's the distribution of those different projects by type throughout District 2. And it's combined on this image 2021 and 2022. And then not least of which, coming up last is District 3. And their CHIP projects are Woodside from Indian Trail to Lindakey. And it says et al. Because you'll notice that that's also a grouping of projects, as well as Normandy from Montgomery, and then several other grind projects. And we can see that on the Northwest map. You can see that really a lot of crack seal work is happening over the 2-year period here. Did someone have a question?
Shauna, I do.
Yes, okay.
Hey, on some of these, like let's say, for example, on Woodside,
okay,
is there an opportunity after that is completed to look at, I think maybe the neighborhood had worked to put bike lanes there? And I'm not sure what that came out, but I guess I just thought it might be good to go through these and identify after the work is done if there's an opportunity to restripe for some of those amenities.
You know, absolutely. And just to make folks aware, we had a gap in the Bicycle Advisory Board representation on this particular board, and we do have a new member. And so, like you are saying, Candace, we can take a look at that afterwards, but moving forward, it's really our intent to look at where these projects are happening and layer those things so that we can really get the leverage for all of that work.
Thank you.
I made note of that to follow up on that one specifically. So those are the groups of projects by district, and then just a couple of other high-level things. I won't get into the weeds too much because I won't take up much of your time. But the other things that will be brought forward in this funding package for residential street maintenance are the infill sidewalk program that Trim Piconso puts together that follows the pedestrian master plan. Also, the paving of unpaved roadway program, and then the seeding in 2022 and 2023 of a new residential sidewalk maintenance program, which will just get under development later this year. And with that, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Let me know if you have other questions. Otherwise, this will be in front of you next week for a vote. All right, I don't have any questions. Thank you.
And next, we have the first reading ordinances, and the first ordinance is the creation of a rental assistance fund to put the money into that the contract Sally presented earlier, referenced, and Michelle Hughes, our Director of Accounting, is here to present this item. Michelle?
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you. As Mike said, this is just an ordinance to create the fund, a special revenue fund, to house the money that is associated with item number 8 that Sally Stouffer briefed on the acceptance of the grant and acceptance of the dollars. We will be moving forward at a later date with an SBO to give budget authority to spend that $6.7 million. Any questions?
Thank you, Sally. And then the next 3 items involve vacations, and Eldon Brown is here to discuss these items. Eldon, take it away.
Good afternoon, Council. I'll share my screen here. First item we got is an old vacation we did on 10th Avenue between Rebecca Street and Julia Street. And what we were looking at there was...
Eldon, it's not on our screen.
Not on your screen?
Nope.
Okay. Hold on a second here. See if we can get it up there. Now it's on there, right?
Well, it was for a second.
Yep, now it is.
There we go.
Okay. So the first item up there is an old vacation we did on 10th Avenue between Rebecca Street and Julia. And we retained an easement for an old telephone plant. I couldn't tell you exactly what that was for then, but we see no need for it at this point in time. So we're just trying to release that old easement so the property owners in there can consolidate that property for development purposes. So are there any questions on that one? We'll move to the next 2. The next 2 here, kind of on the southwest portion of town. Can you see those, or are they up there?
Yes.
And what we have there is we had 2 separate ordinances previously, and we retained easements in both the blue and the red in there for Pacific Northwest Bell. And we have a development going in there called Crystal Ridge. They're trying to final plat that development now. And under these old vacations we had on 16th Avenue and Cochran Street, in the north-south one, we retained an easement in there for Pacific Northwest Bell, which is now Lumen at this point in time. We reached out to those folks on there, and they see no need to retain these easements. So we're just trying to release them prior to the final platting of that property. That's what both those next 2 ordinances are about. So are there any questions on those? That's all I have. Thank you.
Council President and members of the council, that's the end of the proposed advance agenda for next Monday.
Thank you, Mr. Ormsby. And I had one request to consider whether we needed to really do 2 meetings next Monday afternoon, since we're not going to be briefing for the holiday meeting. We do have a neighborhood council meeting presentation for us. So I'm wondering, and I'll take any suggestions, but I'm wondering if we might want to skip the briefing session and just do the consent at the legislative meeting is one option, or bringing the other option, the legislative to the 3:30, but there seems to be some issues that people would be interested in terms of the street program and council rules. So I'd kind of prefer to skip the 3:30 meeting, but totally open to any comments. All right.
If you need something formal, I move that we move the 3:30 briefing to the 6 p.m. prior to the legislative session.
Okay.
I'll second.
All right. Any discussion? Councilmember Stratton.
Can we get word out to the public soon enough that if they want to watch the briefing, they're going to have to see it at 6?
Yeah, it can get posted. Yep.
Okay.
If we do it today.
I guess I might need to amend my motion because Councilor Stratton brought it up. I should have said move the 3:30 consent agenda to this prior to the 6 p.m. legislative, since we won't be having a briefing.
Yep. And the Councilmember Burke, you accept that second? Okay.
I do.
All right. Any other discussion? All right. Hearing none, all those in favor of moving the consent agenda to the 6 p.m. session next week and canceling the briefing session indicate by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, nay? All right. Then is there a motion to accept Monday, February 8th agenda as modified?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, nay? All right. We've got that. That brings us to today's agenda. And I had a request from Integrated Capital Management to defer item 9, which was a low bid for the Centennial Trail, for a week. We did that last week, but they're asking for another one. They need a little more information. So is there a motion to do that?
So moved.
Okay. Second?
Second.
All right. Any discussion? All right. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, nay? All right. That's, I blew that. I said 1 week, but it's really 2 weeks. So, and there's no meeting in 2 weeks either?
Next week.
Oh, no, sorry. No, it was just 1 week. Yeah. No, we're correct. We got that right. Sorry. Fooled myself. All right. Then on our agenda, it looks like there's a motion to suspend the rules to add a special budget ordinance to the agenda. I'm wondering, before we do that, if someone could explain beyond the words in the agenda. This is to make sure that we have funded second position in historic preservation. But I thought I'm not sure if there's someone here who can talk about it, but we included that in the budget already. So I guess I want to confirm that we already included it once, and then this is a request to move money from a planner position for it, which I'm not sure was council's intent, but I'm wondering if someone can talk to me from finance about it. I don't know. Michelle, I see your picture, but I don't know if you know anything about it.
I am here, but I don't have any details on it, but I can definitely get back to you. I've been involved with some requests to just change some descriptions, but I'm really unfamiliar as to what the SBO really does and entails.
All right.
I think they put the position in the budget, but they didn't have dollars for the position, if I had to guess appropriately.
Okay. Well, we can spend the time between now and 6 on our end and maybe your end trying to get a little more information about that. It's not on the consent agenda, so we could suspend the rules at 6 if we get our information, or we can do it next week if we need to. So,
Council President,
yes.
just for Michelle, this position was actually a contract position. I'm sorry, Councilmember Kinnear isn't here, but my understanding is this position had been paid for prior from a contract position. So this is the first I've heard that this would be coming from a Planner 1, which is from, I don't believe, the same department. So
Yeah.
I think we may have to defer this if we can't get our questions answered.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm totally unfamiliar with it, and all of my verbiage is probably just a guess, just because it's an SBO. So I will try to go back through my emails and get a hold of Kim and see what it's all about.
Thanks, Michelle. And since it's not yet on our agenda, we don't have to do anything as far as deferring it, but look forward to more information on that. That's the only additional change on it, so I think we could now read the consent agenda.
Reports, contracts, and claims. Number 1, contract amendment extension number 2 of 3 with Passport Labs Incorporated, Charlotte, North Carolina, for mobile payment for parking program from February 1, 2021 through January 31, 2022, $86,000. Item number 2 is deferred to January 25, 2021 agenda. Number 3, contract amendment with Craig Trueblood and K&L Gates LLP, Seattle, Washington, to act as outside special counsel to provide legal advice and counsel regarding environmental matters for the wastewater management department, $50,000. Total contract amount, $153,000. Item number 4, contract extension with Floyd and Kane, PLLC, Spokane, to act as outside special counsel to provide legal services and advice regarding workers' compensation matter on an as-requested basis from January 1, 2021 through December 31, 2021, not to exceed $250,000. Number 5, interlocal agreement with the University District Public Development Authority regarding funding for the Sprague Avenue Phase 2 road project, $4 million revenue. Item number 6, low bid of Halme Construction Incorporated, Spokane, Washington, for the Sprague Avenue rebuild Phase 2B, $3,724,917.85 plus tax, and administrative reserve of $372,491.79 plus tax, which is 10% of the contract price plus tax, will be set aside. East Central Neighborhood. Item number 7, report of the mayor of pending any claims and payments of previously approved obligations, including those in Parks and Library through January 22nd, 2021, total $8,195,958.92, with Parks and Library claims approved by the respective boards. Warrants excluding Parks and Library, total $3,493,119.51. B, payroll claims of previously approved obligations through January 23, 2021, $7,057,586.82. Item number 8, City Council meeting minutes for January 21 and January 28, 2021. Item number 9 has been deferred to February 8, 2021.
Right, any discussion on those? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, nay? Any abstentions? All right, consent agenda is approved, and we'll see everyone at 6 p.m. this evening. We are adjourned from the briefing session.